Hey guys, Death Note of Anime, bringing you my review for Eden Zero Chapter 4, and yeah, this, I'm not gonna lie, this chapter going in, I wasn't expecting to be, in order to get anything out of it, but, I definitely got more than what I expected out of it for sure, and you all know what I'm talking about, but we'll get to that later. Um, but yeah, and as for the Black Clover review, it's gonna come a little later. Like I said, I've really only kind of been doing those reviews I decided to kind of do those reviews a lot at like nighttime now. So yeah, um, and so the chapter starts off with a quick bit of banter between Shiki and Rebecca aboard the ship, and I'm glad they kept that part mercifully short, and Mashima just decided to cut to them crash landing on planet Noma a page after, because it left a lot more room for left a lot more room for the whole for a lot more exploration and world building aspect, which we definitely get a little more of in this chapter too. So that's definitely good. Um, and going along with that, we get a little more emphasis on ether in this chapter, and specifically how it works, which, from the way it was described, it almost appears like Mashima might be taking a few cues from the Endless arc of Fairy Tail in terms of in terms of how the power source in this world works, in terms of how ether as a power source and pretty much as a power source works, how ether works as a power source for machines and people. But we also learn about Shiki's ether gear power from the explanation, and even though it was played up as a joke, Shiki's line about being a robot magician makes me think he might in fact either be part machine, or something happened off screen where we haven't seen yet, where probably his grandfather probably had something to do with pretty much him being granted this whole ether gear power, because we have to remember that from what we know, the ether gear power is supposedly an extremely rare power. So obviously, if the ether gear power is derived from machines, then is a power that derives from the physiology of machines, at least from what I gathered in this chapter, then it's obvious that definitely something. Then obviously that's something about Shiki pretty much makes him special in order to even grasp onto this power to begin with. And actually but yeah, and I'm really curious. I really want to know exactly what it is that even allows him to in order to take hold of this ether gear to begin with, for sure. And I hope but I assume it's one thing that we're not going to get right away. It's going to happen. Like we're gonna slowly get a lot more build up to it eventually. And one thing one thing I think that we should all really take note of in this chapter is that we see Mashima has written little notes called Mashima's Musings on the side of the pages, and one of them was written as a thank you for the thoughts and feedback he's been getting. So again, I don't want to praise him just yet, but if he's been taking notes of, if he decided to specifically take a note about saying how he's been about how he's if you decided to write down that specific note about how he's taking note of people's feedback, then it's that kind of thing that just it gives me just another slight smidge more hope for this series' future. Like if Mashima is in fact taking notes, then one of the things. Then we are probably going to get at least something a little more tolerable than pretty much Fairy Tail. I'm not saying it's going to be grand or epic as maybe Rave Master, but it gives me hope that End Zero isn't going to be like completely another Fairy Tail. And actually, one thing I find curiously different, or actually one thing I find curiously different already in Zero, pretty much compared to Fairy Tail, is that is that in these past like 4 chapters we've got this in these past 4 chapters is that, and it's something I just haven't mentioned yet, is that Mashima is that strangely enough, Mashima seems to be using his fan service a little more sparingly in this series compared to Fairy Tail. I mean, don't get me wrong, the fan service is still there, but it doesn't. The fan service this time around in Eden Zero, it doesn't seem to be as in your face compared to what we ended up getting in Fairy Tail. Like for instance, like pretty much the most we pretty much got a fan service is basically is pretty much Shiki, where I guess wearing those like X-ray goggles or something, which basically revealed, which basically which revealed it was Rebecca with pretty much out any with pretty much with pretty much out any clothes on. So yeah, they were like those kind of X-ray goggles. So I I think he's. I think at the very least, I think Mashima has kind of learned as strange as it is to say. I think one of the things Mashima has kind of learned is basically how to properly use fan service. I think how to properly use fan service. I think I think we are going to keep getting these just little moments throughout where he uses fan service as basically a bit of a quick little joke or something like that. But it's not going to be overblown in our faces or anything like that. At least. That's what I'm hoping he's going to continue to do, because I don't mind fan services again as long as it's used sparingly. And speaking of the series' future, damn that ending. So we might. I'm not going to say for sure, because there is still a chance that this could be a setup in order for the characters to learn of their future and find a way to subvert it. But if this is in fact how the series ends, then with Shiki and Rebecca pretty much dying presumably during a battle, then yeah, this just got dark. This just got dark. But now the question remains of how. How did they die? Like, what happened from here to then that causes their deaths? And the way I see it, this just opens up the possibilities for this series to be rave mass. Again, it opens up the possibilities for this to at least be, for this to be like a very epic story. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if the actual outcome is subverted or not, but again, definitely when it comes to a setup like this, it pretty much all falls back on the mangaka. And in this case, like with a setup this epic, it'll really only pay off if Mashima has the clarity to execute it right, even if the outcome ends up being different from pretty much the ending that we end up getting here in this chapter. And yeah, if anyone was wondering if you ever needed a hook to continue reading, then I think this is definitely a pretty decent start to say, yeah, I wanna continue reading. I wanna see what happens next, because yeah, after that, yeah, I need to know what happens to Shiki and Rebecca now. Like, again though, like, it's really gonna all depend on pretty much how on again though, like, I think one of the things that's gonna bother me though is how one of the bigger fights is gonna go down. I still have yet to see like an actual fight, like an actual legitimate fight in this series. So hopefully I can get that soon too, because I really want to know exactly how Mashima's going to play the fights out in this series. Like, we've gotten a few, but a couple fights, but they haven't been enough for me to make a decision on how legitimate the fights are going to be or not. But yeah, this whole setup with the deaths is a pretty good start. So by the end of this chapter, we meet the supposed person who turned Happy into a machine. Pretty much it was Dr. Weissteiner, and obviously he shares a certain mixed similarity between young Precht, aka Hades, and Prince Yuri and the young Yuri and the young Yuri from I think it was Fairy Tale Zero, and which. But as for the setup of why he doesn't remember them, I see this going definitely three different ways. Either A, this is a setup for a joke. B, it's a relative of the Doctor. Or C, he's lost his memory, and it's going to be a setup for a plot point in order to get his memory back. But from there, I guess it's just a thing of you got to take your pick as to which of these three you're going to end up believing. Personally, I'm going for a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, because if we know Mashima now, we definitely know he isn't above telling a joke when he. We definitely know he isn't above telling a joke. So I want to say it is going to be a joke, but I think it might be a joke that's also going to lead into possibly this not necessarily being definitely the same person. I think it's probably a relative of the Doctor or something like that. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Dead Night of Anime, signing off.